Good evening. We are live. Evening, everybody. Hello again. I am back this week, feeling better than I was last week. So, welcome along. How's everybody tonight?
Yeah, really good. Really good.
Yeah, doing well. Doing well,
Glad to
mate.
see you
Glad
back.
Yeah, glad to see you.
And evening to everybody in the chat as well this evening.
Yeah.
Lots
Evening,
of people there waiting, Ross. Waiting for you.
Loads of people, mate.
Waiting to see if you're all better.
Not 100% better, to be honest with you. I'm still getting there, but a heck of a lot better than I was the past couple of weeks. So yeah, kind of knocked me for six, that one, to be honest with you. So didn't quite think it'd been as bad as it was, but never mind. We're alive and we're better than we were last week. So
I think it took me about 2 months. You probably don't want to hear this, but it took me about 2 months to get over it. So it's horrible. I think most people have had it now, which is getting there. But
yeah.
Steve's
The worst bit is I had actually signed up, so my work was doing this thing where all the employees signed up to do 10,000 steps a day for, I think it was for Children's Hospice up here somewhere in Scotland, and signed up to that. And then like the week after I signed up to that was when I got it. So, the 10,000 steps went right out the window to start with. And I thought, that's fine. I've only been down for maybe like a week, so I'll be able to catch up. Nah. See, by the time I've done like 3,000, 4,000 steps a day, I am shattered. I just cannot do any more. So I've had to pull out that one, which is a bit crap, but never mind.
Yeah.
Well,
the hardest thing is the fatigue, and in this hobby, it doesn't work, does it? Because like when it comes to water testing, at the best times you're like, oh, the corals look all right. I'm going to give it a skip this week. But, you just can't, can you? You find the motivation.
No, well, to be fair, I neglected my tank for probably a week. I didn't clean the glass, didn't look at it, I didn't do anything.
Wow.
And when I came kind of through here to look at it, and I thought, oh no, what's going to be happening here? Cleaned the glass, and to be fair, it looked probably better than it did normally. So
I thought he was going to say that.
Yeah, it did. I'll be totally honest with you. One of those things of, people always say, don't mess around with the tank, leave your hands out, don't do anything. And to be fair,
9 times out of 10, that's the case, isn't it?
I don't know if it's a thing as well, because you've not seen it every day. You notice things like you notice a couple more polyps on your zoas, you notice things look a bit brighter and bigger and so on. But yeah, it was just one of them that it's maybe psychological more than anything. But I think leaving the tank for that length of time seems to be okay. So yeah.
Wow.
When you said you neglected it, I thought you was going to say weeks, and you said 1 week.
Yeah, usually with me, what I do is I'll clean the glass every day. I'll have a wee prod about at things and kind of move things about and so on. I can't leave it alone. Every time I come to feed them, I'm sitting looking at it going, right, I'll move that a little bit, I'll move this a little bit. And the crabs and snails and so on, I've got a habit of knocking over some things, so I'll put them back up. But yeah, the last week I never touched anything, and it looks better, to be fair. So yeah, it's So
the video this week is you cleaning the glass. Is that what it is on Sunday?
No. The video this week is an update on the people tank.
Is it? Wow.
Because as you'll see there, it's wet, it's got corals in it, and it's running. So yeah.
Very good.
On that one. I thought after last week's doom and gloom on this tank, I should probably do something a bit better. So.
A bit more uplifting.
Yeah.
I was actually
they've dealt with it well at Waterbox.
What's that, mate?
I said, to be fair to them, they've dealt with it very well at Waterbox, and
they have.
They seem to be helping you out.
I mean, for what it is, it's not massive defects. It is cosmetic stuff, and they could quite easily have said, "We'll give you some money back and deal with it." But they did say it's up to you if you want money back or you want a replacement. So chose the replacement option, but they did say to me at the time before they even chose that, they says there is kind of an issue for supply just now on them. Now there's an issue getting this in the first place, and there is an issue on supply. They just don't seem to be able to keep up with the demand just now. So they said it could be kind of 6 weeks upwards of that. So it is what it is. They contacted their suppliers in the UK. Supposedly there's none in the UK. So whether that's the case or whether they just don't want to split one, maybe, I don't know. Because obviously it's not the sump and the stand and that I need, it's just the display tank.
Yeah.
So you might find they might be a bit, a supplier might be reluctant to say, well, we're not going to split a stand and a sump away from it. So I don't know, to be honest with you. But I just need to wait now. I mean, I've kind of got over it. I need to wait. It is what it is. There's no point in getting wound up about it or anything. I had to wait long enough for that to come, so I can wait longer. It's not the end of the world. I'd rather. I mean, I hummed and hawed about it for a while. You guys know that. I spoke to you guys about it, and I kind of chopped and changed my mind, thinking, do I want to take the compensation and live with it or not? But it wouldn't have been the right thing to do. I just wouldn't have been happy knowing that there was marks on the glass and so on, and just it would have been one of those things that would have bugged me. And to be fair, it didn't look that bad until I mounted the light on it and put the light on, and that's when I noticed it.
Yeah.
And but totally honest with you, I probably could have put up with it, but it would have just annoyed me, I think.
Yeah.
You shouldn't have to, the price of the tanks, you shouldn't have to put up with, anything. It should be pretty much perfect, really. And you did the right thing. It's horrible having to wait, but, it's worth the wait, isn't it, in the end?
Yeah, absolutely. If you have something that maybe 4 or 5 years, I think you kick yourself that I'll give it 7, 8 weeks down the road and you think I could have had a new one by now, potentially.
Yeah.
So I think it's the right decision, as frustrating as it is.
I know.
Yeah.
So I just need to wait now and see what happens. But I'm in no great rush, to be honest with you. Muggs, have you got an invisible beer?
Let's not go there.
There's nothing in it. I can't afford anything to be put in it.
It's just an empty bottle.
So you chose. Let's go on to Muggs's background here. Look at that. So he's we've got the tank view today. Yeah.
There's no fish.
Yeah, we've got the tank view today.
There's no fish moving around there.
Oh.
It's not a live view, mate. It's not a live view. It's all a picture. It's a picture, mate.
I'd say he's harpooned the chromis.
I think we finished the batteries in, to be fair.
I probably need a harpoon to get them out, mate. So you probably get it.
To be fair, it does look very smart. And your last video, your tank looked incredible.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
I think it looked the best it's ever looked.
Yeah, to be truthful, and I'll tell you, you're not going to believe it, but I'll tell you, I measured the phosphates, and I don't know why my phosphates have gone up. I've not done anything different, to it. But with phosphates on, when was it? Tuesday, Wednesday, one of them. And I thought I'd do a test. I was doing nothing at home. I thought, like you do, I'll do a test on it. And I did it. Everything else came back spot on, alkalinity, the lot, everything, calcium. Tested the phosphates, and it was 0.36. 0.36.
Wow.
And this, yeah. But I'd done the filming, the day after, and it just goes to show. So I'm like, I don't know where the phosphates come from. I don't have a clue. I've not changed anything. I've not changed any of my feeds. So I'm really at a loss of like where it is. I mean, I don't run my reactor all the time anyway. You know what I mean? A lot of people keep running the reactors. I run it as and when it starts to rise up, up and down and stuff. So obviously I was in two minds thinking my tank never looked any better. Like, looking at it, it just, all the polyps and all that on the SPS were like thriving. I'm like, what do I do? Do I keep it like that now, or do I try and reduce it? So I was like, I've literally put 100 grams in the reactor, a very small amount, to just take it down slightly and just see whether there's any adverse effects to it. But it just goes to show, when people panic, I'm going to get hair algae, I'm going to do this, I'm going to get that, and what they do is they try to correct it straight away, and that causes more problems. I think if you correct it straight away, you're going to have an issue. You know what I mean? So I'm going to just see. I put like I said, 100 grams of raw phos in, not raw phos, of the Kraken Corals phosphate remover, and I'm going to see how that goes. See if it just drops it down, slightly. I've not tested. I'm going to test this weekend and just see, because it's been a few days then, and then we'll see how it goes. But like I said, the corals look great, and it's like, and the Duncans, they tell you whether there's something wrong with the tank, and there's nothing. So
yeah.
I don't know really what to do with it. It's a tricky one, but everything else was fine. Nitrates were 7 parts per million, stuff like that. So everything was all in the ballpark there, but just the phosphates, I don't know why.
I've never seen it so colourful. Really was.
Yeah, absolutely. I think also what does help is because was it 3.5 years old, it can take a bit more like that. Whereas if you've got a newer tank that's got phosphate of that, it's probably going to drive more algae, because your tank is nice and mature, it's got all the beneficial bacteria, blah blah blah, all that kind of stuff. So it helps when it's older like that. You don't get those swings as much with algae as you would with certainly not as compared to the first 12 months. So that's a big I mean, you could bring it down a little bit and just test and see what happens.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Yeah. That's what I'm planning to do, Paul. To be truthful, just to take it down a little bit. Like even if I take it to, like you all know the way I like to have it. I like to have it about 0.11, between 0.07 and 0.15. So in that middle, I think that's a good sweet spot. For my tank, I like it like that there. But like obviously, what it is now, it's like whoa, it's like 3 times what I would really like it at. You know what I mean? So. But like I said, the corals look great. So it's a strange one. It's a tricky one to judge. But I think I need to drop it down just slightly, a little bit. And then monitor it, see how it goes. So see how the corals are. You know what I mean?
Said to me for quite a while was just with regards to that. Sometimes if you see a change like that in your tank, it can actually have happened weeks ago. It's not something that can be straight away. So you then counteract that. And your tank looks great for the first couple of days, and you think, oh, fantastic. But then 2 weeks later, there's like a knock-on effect from that. So sometimes it's quite difficult to try and figure out A, what's caused it, or B, when you make a change, it's going to be 2 weeks before you really notice that. I don't know if that's true with regards to...
No, it is true on SPS, definitely.
It is true on SPS.
An SPS die, and it could be something that's happened 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks ago, and you're sitting there thinking, what's happened? It may have absolutely nothing to do with what's happened to your tank. So that is well documented. I couldn't prove it because I couldn't say, well, I'm not going to do X to the tank and see what happens. But I've sometimes found that when in really hot weather and it's cooled back down again, it's okay. And then I might get one of the SPS branches might go white or something like that. And that might be 2 or 3 weeks later. And I wonder, is it because of the heat? And the heat's gone up quite a bit weeks before. But you just don't know. But I think that's accurate. Ross.
That's it, mate.
I mean, there, Steve, for you on the screen, has adding the CO2 scrubber helped with colour?
Yeah, well, I've added that CO2 scrubber, God, well over a year ago now, haven't I? Well over a year. So, but it definitely does. Obviously, it helps with the pH and stuff. I had really poor pH. Without going over it again, I had really bad pH. But since I've added the CO2 scrubber, it's got up by 2.2 sort of thing. You know what I mean? 0.3, about 0.2, 0.3. So not much, but I was having really low. So like my pH is only really ever maxed out really now at about 8.1. That's the maximum that it ever goes. I've never really had it above that, and I don't know. Obviously, because it's in the center of the room. It's not like near the window. It's not it's not near the back door. So it's in between. So it's very tricky to get. I mean, my ideal thing would be to run a tube straight outside into the air, but I just can't run pipe and tubing everywhere. Do you know what I mean? So, but the CO2 scrubber helps, and it definitely colours up because it helps you're getting more into the oxygenation into the water, aren't you? So it's definitely helping the corals for sure. Do you know what I mean? But like I said, I've been running it well over a year now. So, and you only have to look at the tank. It does look pretty decent, in colour wise. So it definitely helps in that sense. But I just wish it raised the pH a little bit more than it has done. But there isn't any. I mean, other than those is it Calquas or something like that?
Or you can do calc.
Just to buffer it up, but then that then messes up with your alkalinity. So it's like a balancing game, and I've got mine dialed in now on my alkalinity. So I don't really want to mess about with dosing it, using supplements to dose to raise the pH in it. So I just leave it as it is, and it's happy because it's used to it now. So I probably would get a lot more faster growth on my SPS if I had a higher pH, but we'll just leave it as it is. It's growing enough. Otherwise, I'll have to buy a bigger tank and I'll have to beg it to the missus, and I don't think she's going to be happy at that. So we'll leave them at slow growing.
I was going to say the tank looks really good, and actually, if they start growing quicker, you start getting corals fighting. You then got to start fragging. The graveyard at the back then piles up even more, and you've got problems.
Exactly.
So actually, the speed of growth is probably all right. Actually,
I think you're right, mate. Yeah, exactly what you said. Yeah, I've tried that.
Coral graveyard.
I've tried that before. Yeah, I've tried that. I've had one, but the only thing I didn't like about it was the actual the air stone pump. It was noisy as anything. Oh mate, it was like having a generator in a cupboard. You know what I mean? I was just like, I can't be doing with this. It was just too loud. They need to make some sort of air
on just for like an hour a day or something, then to just try and get a little boost.
Or I thought about maybe putting it on put it on a timer switch and switching it on at night time. When I go to bed. You know what I mean? So I thought about doing that, you know, maybe, but yeah, I've still got it here. It's in the cupboard actually, and I might just maybe think about doing it and just setting up, buying a timer, and then put it on, you know, in the evening when we go to bed, and then just let it run through the night. You know what I mean? Maybe that might raise it up. I don't know. Something to look into, I suppose.
How is the coral graveyard doing, Steve?
Yeah, it's piling up like there's no tomorrow, mate. There, yeah, we're in trouble. We're gonna have to find some sort of other. You have to start piling them up. It's just crazy. I mean, it's the Cenotopia, to be truthful. You know, that green one. It's like literally poking out the water now. It's literally poking out the water. You know what I mean? So I'm having to snap it, and then people don't want that stuff. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, and I don't sell it. I give it away. So it's just like, but it grows that fast. I'm like, as fast as I'm snapping them, then I've just think, you know what? Either bin them or put them at the back. So I just leave them at the back of the tank. I mean, I only wish that I could actually film it, because if you've seen it, I couldn't. It's just tons at the back, and they're all alive. That's the weird thing.
It. I would really love to see it.
It's all alive, mate.
It's all alive. Would love to see your coral graveyard.
Oh, mate.
I think we need a graveyard special video, mate, just where you show us that.
You know,
special. Well, I was
I'll try and put my camera phone in it. I'll try and put my phone in and film it and see what it's like. You know what I mean?
They're not all coloured up, are they all coloured up?
They're all alive, mate. It's all alive, yeah. All growing. It's actually stuck. It's actually some of them are actually stuck on the actual glass, mate. That's like diffused on the glass. Do you know what I mean? And growing up it's just weird, mate.
What a talent you've got, mate. You don't even care.
I've not got a talent, mate.
Unbelievable. No, we're all here trying our best, and you're just chucking them down the back, and they're growing.
No, it's luck, mate. It's luck. That's all it is. It's just trial and error. That's all it is.
So, speaking of trying our best, Jay, how's the Pico tank going? Is the question on the screen?
What, mine? How's mine going?
Got no glue. Got no glue. Got no glue.
What's happened?
Right, you're on exclusive, Stephen. I'm going to give Stephen exclusive here. So, there's been progress.
Oh, there's been progress.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
It's out of the box. Just a little bit.
That's it, though.
And then did you give? And then did you? Did you give up, Jake?
So embarrassed. Look, that's it, right?
It doesn't look straight. It doesn't look at 90 degrees.
Yeah, that looks bent, that, mate.
That
does
not.
Straight, that.
What do you know?
Wait.
I've got. Look here.
Yeah, put it on.
There's no light between there. Look.
It looks like a space bottom left-hand corner.
Wait up.
Yeah, you're gonna get a leak there, mate. There's a leak there. It's gonna be a leak.
Well, it's funny you say that, because I've stopped building it. So what happened is that my original pack of glue, the original pack of glue that I got with the tank, has gone out of date. It's gone out of date, and I was squeezing it right to get the glue down the strip, watching Ross's video, and he's there just going doo, 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 doo. And I'm like squeezing the hell out of it, like it's like your toothpaste, and you know that there's none left in it, but you've got to go to work and you just get the last bit out. You don't want to go with dog breath, so I'm there squeezing the hell out of it, right? And it wasn't coming out, so I messaged P-Tank. I said, I'm really struggling to get the glue out. I felt like an old grandma opening a jar up, you just can't do it. And then I messaged you guys and said, did you have any problems getting the glue out? Thinking it might just be me being a bit of a weed. And you were like, no, it's all right. So I messaged P-Tank, and he said, is it really gloopy? I was like, yeah, it's really gloopy. What do you mean the glue? Yeah, the glue. I'm still about the glue here. It's really gloopy.
Okay.
And anyway, long story short, he sent me not only some more new glue. Here's my fresh packet of glue. Look, there we go.
Yeah,
nice.
I've got that. Look at this. He also sent me a replacement side and bottom, and he must think I'm really crap. Look how many spares I've got.
Hang on a minute, Jay. Is that not actually the practice tank that he sent you?
I think it might
What's
be.
that?
I think he sent you the practice tank.
Oh, wait up.
So that's a practice tank where you build an actual tiny miniature tank.
Yeah, miniature tank.
I think you're right. Let me have a look.
Yeah.
Now he sells
Jay
them on
thought they were
his
just
website
pieces.
for, I think,
Jay just
it's
thought they
a
were pieces
£5 he
to try
sells them
them.
for.
So you're not the only one with 3 tanks now, Ross. I've got 3.
Oh, hello.
Here we go. Oh, yeah, you got.
He's got another one.
Waterbox.
Oh.
Oh, he's got 4, hasn't he?
He's up to
He's got
4.
The crab tank's still over there as well.
That's a
And the
5.
frog tank, so
He's got a whole LFS.
Yeah, kind of, we're getting there.
If you were a good friend, Ross, you'd have sent me that one to stop me embarrassment.
I did offer it.
But it's great entertainment, though, Jay. It's nothing like learning from others, is there?
Yeah.
So,
the thing is, I set my stall out last Saturday, and I was really. You're right. It is a mini. It is a mini one, a mini version. It'd be absolutely tiny.
He was going to stick that small panel next to the big panels and then wonder why it's not straight.
Yeah, look, it's definitely a mini version, yeah. Yeah,
I'm sure he sells them on the website for a £5, so you can practice building them before you build your main one.
But Jay, don't use too much glue on that one because you might not have enough for the other.
Yeah, exactly.
He's such a good guy, right?
He is,
Customer service is brilliant. He's such a genuinely good guy, really helpful. And, you know, the price you pay, really, it's not much, is it, for a reef tank? Tiny price, but... he's really good, and there was no qualms about it. I just said my glue's gone off. No.
It's took me a year to build it. I haven't done it.
Should I build it now? Should I build the mini one?
Oh my god!
Who's up for a little bit? Oh no, I can't do it in here because this stuff blows your head off, doesn't it?
Yeah,
I was fine. I just had the window open, and that was it.
Do you know it's actually cancerous? This, you know. If you breathe it in, yeah.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, apparently so. Speaking of cancer, though, on a positive note, we've got a charity, haven't we?
Yes, we do.
It's in the banner that goes across.
Yeah, there's a banner across the bottom. Now, we did touch on this the other week, I think, but the reason behind this is I've switched off the super chats for this stream and all the other streams going to be going forward. There's no super chats anymore. That's due to the fact that YouTube are taking about 60% cut on any super chats we get. Now, the reason behind it, we're going to donate all the super chats to charity. I don't think it's fair to say to you guys, if you donate X amount, YouTube are going to take 60% of that and the rest of it to charity. So I've switched off all the super chats. There's no more super chats there. If you want to donate, set up a Just Giving page. It's on the screen there just now, and it's also in the description of this video. So when the video goes live on YouTube, you can click the link on there. Now, I do want to say a massive thank you to everybody who's already donated. We're at £185 already that we've raised.
Wow.
Fantastic.
So, massive thank you to everybody for that. That's
thank you,
fantastic.
everybody.
Yeah, massive.
It really does mean a lot. So, any amount, be it £1, whatever. If you want to donate, then fantastic. You do not have to, by all means, don't feel you have to donate. It's just one of those things that if you feel that you want to, it's there. So, massive thank you to everybody who has already. Good change of subject there, Jay. I liked how you just reflected that off.
No one wants to know about the Pico anymore. It's done.
So there's a couple of questions that I think I missed, which I'm just going to go back to, just to kind of save Jay here, but never mind.
So Jay, what's the plan? Are you going to? Let's have the question. We'll come back to that afterwards.
So the first one is anyone using
what do you mean? What's the plan?
Life source?
What's that?
Life source.
Yeah, it's the Aqua Forest life source, isn't it? That was the one that they were all complaining about originally, wasn't it? Because there was metals in the bags, weren't there? Remember? They fingered and they tested it. They put it out on somebody put it on a train. Yeah, with a magnet, and they pulled all the metals. They said that those were the good metals that you need in your tank. You know, the elements, the metals and stuff like that you need in it. So everywhere, but I've never used it. I was going to use it because obviously I use all their stuff. But when I seen that, I thought, no, I'm not. I know they might say it, but I just don't want to use it. You know, just in case.
So what does it do? What does it do?
It's a bit like that miracle mud. What Jay's got, you know that Jay's puts in his tank. It's the same thing as that, you know what I mean? It makes your tank cloudy, so you mix it up and it's like a thing and you just tip it in, I believe. and it's just clouds your things, your tank and stuff like yours does, Jay. In the evening.
So I use it if my phosphates and nitrates drop. Then it's a great little recovery. It's obviously a natural mineral from the mangroves, which would naturally wash over the reefs anyway at certain storms and periodic times in the day. So it's just natural nutrition. So if you're like struggling to get your nitrates up, or your phosphates, or you're on the verge of like cyano and dino or something like that, then it'd probably be really good because it is a big hit of like nutrients. That's what it is.
Yeah.
The corals love it. You have to put it in. So you put it in last thing at night. You tank looks like the River Trent just outside here. It goes really dirty and brown. The first time I did it, I was like, oh my God, I'm not going to see these fish again. But then in the morning, the water is like gin clear, and the corals are just like fluffed up, coloured.
There's a lot of people saying that it's great stuff.
It's really good.
It's just,
Future Frags have just got a new delivery of it. The Fiji mud, it's called Fiji mud.
Yeah.
It's just got loads of pots of it in. It's absolutely brilliant, especially.
I was going to go up and get one of them, but I've had a few things down here, a few issues, so I've not managed to go. But I was going to collect one off him, on was it Tuesday, Wednesday?
Yeah, but, they're on Facebook.
I might just get it delivered.
If you go, just let me know and I'll meet you there.
Yeah.
So
I'm
going to move on to the next question.
Oh yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's the stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I said to him about my tank, and he said it would probably last me its lifetime. You know what I mean? The amount that you need to put in it. Because I said, how much do you need to put in? Yeah, that's the stuff.
It's absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
So there's another question here from John Wright, who says, tank's only 2 months old and cycled after 4 weeks, and now got 0 phosphate and nitrate, which isn't good. Turned off the GFO reactor and keto is growing fast. Should I feed my fish more? So my gut instinct would be yes.
You probably don't need.
Why is he running a GFO reactor though? Why is he running a GFO reactor with a newly cycled tank? You shouldn't. I don't think you should really run a GFO reactor straight away. So because remember, you know what I mean. That's gonna. I wouldn't do that. I would leave everything. If you've got run a skimmer as well, turn off your skimmer. You need to get those you need to get those nutrients up because it's a new tank. Literally, it is a brand new tank, just cycled. So really, it's only been cycled like 4 weeks, hasn't it? You know what I mean? So I would just switch everything I've got off it. Everything. No, exactly. Feed the fish. Feed them a little bit more than you need to do. You know what I mean? And then just test and test. That's all you can do, and just make sure that it just rises up slightly because otherwise, having 0 phosphates, nitrates, we know what happens. You know what I mean? So it's not one you want to go down. So switch everything off. In my opinion, switch everything off. Don't run GFO. You don't need to run GFO at all on your reactor. Not at that time. And then, like I said, feed more fish. Put some more. Anything in mysis, bit of mixture, some mysis, some flake, some pellets, whatever fish you've got in. I don't know what fish you've got in it, how many fish you've got in it. You know what I mean? If you've got a pair of clownfish in like a 400 or 500 litre tank, it's not going to be much. You know what I mean? So you need to, I would just do that. I don't know about what you think, Paul.
So I would, in terms of the Cheeto, I don't know how long you run in the light, but I would turn the light down a little bit because then it won't grow so fast. So therefore, more nutrients will stay in the tank. But like you say, how many fish have you got? Have you got a skimmer? Have you got anything else other than a GFO? You've turned that off, and probably don't do any water changes because you don't need to replenish. If you haven't got any cobles, you don't need to replenish that. You haven't got to take out any of your phosphate or nitrate, so you haven't got to worry about that. So I wouldn't change too much, but I would turn down the Cheeto a little bit. Feed a little bit more, but it'd be good to know how many litres and how many fish you have as well. But there must be some nitrates in them if the Cheeto's growing. Because in the 900, it took me 6 months to get the Cheeto growing because I didn't have enough phosphates and nitrate. I only had 4 fish to be fair in a 280 litre tank. So So it's only for 6 hours. It's not on very long, actually, is it? You could take it down to 4 hours, or you could just pile in some more food. But I won't go over the top, because if you go over the top, you'll find all of a sudden it will shoot up and you're going, oh my God, it's too much. So I would just do it gradually. So 8 fish in a 250 litre, that should, 8 fish, even if they're small fish, should produce a decent bioload. I would say. And that's a good point. Someone's got, have you got bio balls or bio blocks in there? So what other filtration have you got? Because that could
remember they all add up, don't they, Paul? You know what I mean? So it's like you have a skimmer, then you have your bio balls, then you have, like if you have a clarity, every little thing, every little piece of equipment that you've got, and biological media, everything, mechanical media, they all totals up. So you think, I've not got a lot in there. I've got enough to take that out, and before you know it, strips everything, because it runs that, because the equipment and the stuff nowadays what we have in our tanks are so good, that it just takes it out, and before you know it, then it's harder to raise it up. You know what I mean? So I would do like you said.
Brings me back to one of the points that we've covered so many times in this about the bio balls. I had a guy on Instagram I was talking to last week or the week before, and he messaged me saying that his nitrate and phosphate had dropped to 0. So my first question to him was, how many bio balls have you got and what size is your tank? So he come back and said, it's a 75-litre tank and I've got a kilo of bio balls in it.
That sounds familiar.
Now, there'll be people watching this stream that's probably the same. I didn't know that. I didn't know you could put too many in. So, I mean, I've only got 4 in that little tank now, and it's perfect. To be honest with you, I fluctuate between 3 and 4 depending on what it does. Sometimes it'll start to rise a little bit and I'll add in the 4th one. Sometimes I'll take it back out again, but I could probably do with 3.5, to be honest, but I'll live with between
I've got 8 bio balls in my 350 and 1 max block. That's what I've got. That's it. You know what I mean? So it's like, I was the same when I first I read the instructions, of how much surface, how like the surface take it as on each ball. But then obviously you're new to the hobby, you're like, but what does that actually, right? Or I tell you what, I'll just shove half a box in, you know what I mean? And you're shoving half a kilo in the tank. And it's just like you said, and then once they start to get all the beneficial bacteria on it, it just strips your tank. They're so good, these bio balls, bio blocks. You know what I mean? It's crazy. They are. In fact, they can be too good. You know what I mean? If you put too many in, so it's just just take a few out if you've got them in for sure.
So I'm going to go back up to a couple more questions, because there's quite a few questions come in that I've missed. So we covered that one from John. I think the next one was from Richie. So he said, good evening, guys. May I ask, really in doubt between an all-in-one nano Waterbox Peninsula or better go for a full glass tank with canister filter? Any preference, recommendation? So on that one, I will say that the Waterbox Peninsula that I've got is an all-glass tank. There's no, everything's glass in it. Or do you just mean a glass like completely open right round that you can see on all sides?
What I think they mean there is, like where you get the canister and you get the spray bars, the spray bars that go, so not an old like tank with no,
the crab tank that I've got kind of thing.
And then they have a spray bar, don't the canister filters have a spray bar, don't they? I think that's what they mean.
I would say I've never had, because it's hidden. Then your equipment's hidden in the back. Okay, it takes up a little bit of space, but you're going to get space taken up in a normal tank anyway. But it's not in show, so I think the little all-in-one tank is probably a better way to go. Be it a Waterbox or an Innovative Marine or whatever, there's J's, Red Sea, Max Nano. There's so many different ones out there. So personally, I would say go with all-in-one.
Yeah, I'd agree. I mean, I've never run a tank on canister filters. You know what I mean? So when I was first setting up my 170, I was going to go with a canister filter, and then I just thought, you know what, and let's just go. And after researching it, I just thought, I'll go with a sump and do it that way. But like I've seen some incredible tanks with canister filters. Do you know what I mean? And stuff. There's absolutely nothing wrong. But like you said, all the equipment is on show in it. Like if you've got just an all-in glass one, whereas an all-in-one, it's all hidden. It's more, and to me, it's just looks aesthetically pleasing. When it's all hidden, all your stuff. There's nothing on show. All you want to do is look at your corals and your fish, your tank. That's what you don't want to look at anything else. Do you know what I mean? So I'd definitely go with the all-in-one for sure.
Yeah,
definitely.
I think also, I mean, I started with an all-in-one. That was 8 years ago before bio balls, and we knew as much about filtration. It was quite difficult to manage the tank. It was 125 litres, but I think it's a lot easier now, as we've said before, with the bio balls and GFO, and I think we understand more around the balance and how to keep things in check. Certainly we do now compared to when I started, and it wasn't that long ago. So personally, I go all in one, but as Steve says, people run tanks with canister filters, works really well. Also depends what stock you want to put in there. If you have a smaller tank and you have higher bio load, you're going to struggle potentially whether you have an all-in-one or a canister filter. You have to do more maintenance. So it's that balance of what you put in it, I think, as well. I mean, how many fish you two got? How many fish you got, Ross?
I've got 3.
Okay, so it's 3 in how many litres is it?
52 litres.
Okay. And then Jay, what you've got?
I've got 4 in a 75 litre.
Yeah. And would you say that's about right for both of you in terms of a nice balance of fish to have for a bio load?
Bio load, yeah, it's quite good. Richie, are you a new reefer, Richie, or how long have you been reefing for? I don't know if he's a beginner, I would definitely go with the all-in-one. It just they're called plug and play tanks for a reason.
Yeah.
Like someone like me who's just started out, I plugged it in. It's quite basic. It can run itself. You can get up and running quite successfully. With obviously with some learning, but compared to having a sump tank and all that, it's pretty simple. So if you're a newbie, definitely go for the all-in-one. Plug and play.
He said from Peter Elliott, which I think is quite a good one about the Fluval Evo. That's a really good tank to start out with if you're just starting.
Yeah.
You know, everything's included with it. Basically, you will end up upgrading the light and so on, but it'll get you started for a really, really cheap price. To be honest with you, I mean, after the Fluval Evo, you're really looking at jumping up to likes of the Waterbox or the Innovative Marine or something, and then after that, you're probably going to jump up to what Jay's got, which is a bit more money again. So that's really the kind of ones I would look at to go in for first.
I think
Jay, with yours, I know you upgraded the light, didn't you? But did it come with everything, and then you decided to get rid of the Red Sea light, and then you bought the Radiant?
So it comes with a Reef LED 50 light, which apparently, and people in the chat will probably tell me, it's apparently a really brilliant light. Like
I've heard they're good.
Yeah, but I just thought I'm probably not going to keep this tank forever, and I thought I'd invest in the Radiant. And therefore, I can transfer it from this tank onto another one, and then buy an extra one. And I sold the Reef LED 50 light because it was brand new from the box for £200. So then I only ended up paying £150 extra for the Radiant Gen 5, and that's a transferable light. Whereas the Reef LED 50 is it comes with like a screw fit that only fits the Red Sea Max Nano.
Because you got a bracket made, didn't you? You got that bracket made for that bit on it, didn't you? Yeah.
So I had a special bracket made. So somebody who's got a Max Nano would have bought it as a replacement for theirs. Yeah. So I sold it for £200 because it was brand new. I never used it, so for £150 I got the Gen 5 Blue, which I thought was a good buy, which now I can take to another tank.
Yeah, absolutely. So basically, when you bought that, it comes with all the kit that you need. Does it come with a power head as well?
It came with all the power. It comes with a skimmer pump, filter sock, return pump, light. It comes with active carbon, the whole everything apart from sand and rock and water.
And so, did you add a power head afterwards, or did you say it come with a power head?
Sorry, the wave maker here.
Yeah, sorry, yeah. The wave maker.
Yeah, that's an extra. That was an extra, yeah. But you can get good flow from the return pump. Yeah. But I think most people will end up getting another power head.
Yeah. So you can start off with it, and it also. Sorry, did you say it comes with a heater or not?
Sorry, no, it doesn't come with a heater.
So you had to buy the heater because someone said, no power head or heater. But that's pretty good though, because a lot of people, the one that I bought was a Fluval, and I ended up having to upgrade a lot of the stuff. I upgraded the skimmer, the lights, virtually all of it, other than the return pump. So I think in getting one that's got good quality gear makes sense. There's a big gap between that and the cost of a Red Sea Reefer 170, which I know is a little bit bigger, but then you don't get any kit with it. So the price of the tank is very similar, because I was looking. There's not much difference between them. But of course, then you've got to buy all the other stuff, like your return pump and all the stuff you just said. So it's worth looking into what you get with it.
You see, Rick, he's just put here, yeah, like he said, Rick, I put the feedback, and he said his vision is to just get a pair of clownfish, yeah, and some easy corals. Like I said, that fluval, even with the basic light on it, yeah, will grow easily grow normal, easy to grow corals like leathers, mushrooms, stuff like that. Not the higher tier of coral, but then obviously if you're going into SPS and stuff like, you need a much more stronger light. But the fluval evo, what you get with it, you know what I mean? You get. I mean, then they do packs, don't they, where you get the skimmer and stuff like that, which is an extra like 30 quid or something. So you can get the whole pack for less than what, £200. You know what I mean? And
I don't think you need a skimmer on a tank that size, though, mate.
No. Not if you got bile balls and stuff. No, do you? No.
But the Fluval Evo actually is on sale now for £145 for everything.
Yeah.
When you compare that to the likes of the Waterbox or Jay's tank, the Red Sea, the Red Sea's coming in at what, £900 or something now.
Yeah.
So I paid $550 for it. Yeah. Really? So, wow. That shows you how much it's gone up.
$550, and I bought it in October 2020. So 2 years. So a year and a half, it's gone up.
That's nuts, isn't it? So it's gone up about 70% ish.
Yeah,
70%.
That's a lot, isn't it?
That's shipping and obviously other manufacturing costs, isn't it?
Yeah.
Wow.
They must have all gone up a bit, though. Surely they must have all gone up the similar amount. Surely.
Yeah, but as a percentage, that would have gone up more because of the shipping. Probably, I know it's smaller than say a 250 and that, but that's a lot of money. I mean, I still think it's a good tank. But come back to the Evo. If you're not too sure, you want to start out and dip your toe in the water for under 200 quid. Now, of course, you've got to buy the other stuff, haven't you? Because you don't realise you've got to get your sand, your test kits, and all that kind of stuff adds up to quite. In fact, when you've added all that up, it's probably not much different to the cost of the tank.
Yeah, it does.
If you think 150 quid, I mean, if you buy even if you just buy basic 3 or 4 test kits, that's going to be a minimum of what, 40 to 80 quid, depending on what ones you go with.
And sand and rock in that isn't cheap as well. I think a lot of people overlook the cost of sand and rock when they're building a new tank.
Yeah. And you won't need much sand, will you? In an Evo.
If anyone needs any sand, let me know.
In some of Jay's,
I've got loads.
There's a quick one here from Howard who said, one question can't find a good answer to. Is there a trick or technique to removing previously glued corals from your rockscape? So for me, I only use this Gorilla Glue here. That's the stuff that I use to stick them down with. And when I want to unstick them again, I've got a little plastic scraper blade thing, and I can just flick them off with that. A little bit of pressure and you'll be able to break the glue off, and that's all I do. I don't think there's any trick or technique to it. Although I feel Paul's about to show us something here.
Well, it depends. So if it's with glue, something I made earlier in the studio, you could slice it with that. So get underneath the glue. If it's on a thread plug, just get under and slice it underneath. Or if you've got some cutters. No, so if you've got, so it depends. If you put it straight onto the rock, then it's going to base out, and you haven't got much of a choice. You're going to have to snip it off. But if it's on a thread plug and you've glued the thread plug on, that you should be able to pull it off, or just cut underneath where the glue is. I'll use some cutters. And do that. So if I want to get something like that, I'll use that depending. But quite often, if it's just glued on, then I would just be able to pull it off if it's a thread plug. If it's not a thread plug, then it's a lot harder, especially if it's based out.
Yeah.
So that's all I do.
Another question here. Past couple of days, water's been quite cloudy. Thinking bacteria bloom. Added a bit of carbon in a bag. Any ideas to clean it up, or is it just worth waiting it out? Any ideas on that one?
I had one. I had to wait.
Just wait it out. Bacteria blooms. I mean, you could do water change, I suppose, but I don't think you'll see much of a difference because the bacteria is still in there. It's going to cloud whatever water you put in. Do you know what I mean? So, you've done exactly right. You just put carbon in. Carbon's the best thing for anything like that. You know what I mean? Just keep running the carbon, and it'll just slowly go. Doesn't it? It just slowly goes. Over a few days, it should be gone. But there's nothing to worry about.
You could use a UV, but it's a bit extreme just to put an UV in just for that. If you can have a UV long term, then it might be an idea to put it in at that stage. Polyfilter, because that takes contaminants out of the water as well. But carbon will do the trick. And you just got to watch. With some bacteria, it can sometimes take a little bit of the oxygen out. So maybe get power head pointed towards the surface. That's where you could put an air pump in. Because putting an air pump in would definitely aerate the water a bit more. So that's what I'd potentially do. you could just get the power heads you've got, unless they're Ecotech ones, because you can't point those tools to service. But if you've got a directional one, then you could.
Yeah. Another question here from John, who said, tanks 5 weeks running, cycled 0 ammonia and nitrate, but the nitrate's sky high, 80 gallons. What should I do to get the nitrate down before putting fish in? So
water change.
On that one for me, I just done a big water change after the cycle to get the nitrate down. That was how I done it.
And when you say sky high, how high is sky high? Because if it's 40 or 50, I run a tank that's got fish in there already, but you could do a water change to bring it down, because that's, I suppose, what's supposed to happen. You cycle it, nitrates go high, you do a water change, put your fish in. That's the kind of cycle process. But hardy fish as well. So I don't know what fish you're looking to put in there, John. Most people put something like cardinals or clownfish, or I never recommend clownfish. Again.
No.
And Jay certainly wouldn't. But yeah, just a water change should do the trick. But yeah, I'd like to know how high is sky high.
Yeah. While we're waiting on that, there's been a few comments, Steve, asking how the Pikachu's doing.
Doing very well, mate. Yeah, he's it's colouring up it's doing really nice actually.
Like
I mean, they always
can't see it behind you.
No, that's not there, mate. That was an old photo.
I thought you must have lost it already. It's not over your shoulder.
Yeah, you're trying to zoom in, aren't you?
I'm trying to zoom in, yeah.
No, it's it's doing well, yeah. Great shipment of SPS at that place. I tell you for sure, it's like I couldn't believe how good they were. You had to see them to actually believe. I mean, really nice. Camera doesn't do any good, does it? You know what I mean? Until you actually see them under the blues and all that, it's just they were fantastic, some fantastic, and I think he's sold a lot of them anyway now. But there is a fair few left. He got a really good shipment in. But when I seen that, I thought, got to have some. I mean, he said it was like a Pikachu, so I don't really know, because I've seen Pikachu, so I know what they're about. You know what I mean? And I know, and to me, it doesn't look like a Pikachu. It looks. I don't know. It just looks different. So I'm going to see how it goes. But if it stays yellow, which most yellow corals, SPS corals, don't tend to stay yellow. So that's the hardest thing, is to try and keep a yellow coral yellow. You know what I mean? So if it stays yellow, then it's a nice addition to the tank, no matter what it is. Do you know what I mean? So, but yeah, it looks really nice, whatever it is, whether it's a Pikachu or not. Do you know what I mean? But try and keep it alive. That's the main thing.
Yeah. Guess what colour my yellow Anacropora is?
Brown.
Brownie yellow.
I knew you were going to say that. It's green. It's green.
Maybe not brown. We'll go beige. Is that better?
I actually didn't think you were going to say brown. It's gone green, guys. It's gone green.
You didn't think I was going to say green? Brown?
Yeah.
Come on, Jay. You say all your SPS go brown. I was going to say that.
See, it was bright yellow when I bought it, and I was like, "Oh, that looks amazing." And then after about 2 weeks, it's gone green. It still looks healthy, but it's green. No, it's not brown. Yeah. It's not brown.
So John's replied to us there saying it's about 80. He's tested it goes up to 50 at pink and it's red. Now I remember when I done my cycle on the peninsula and it was up 80 or higher, I would say. And I just done quite a big water change after that, and I brought it down to suitable levels, added the fish, water change the following week, and it was back down in no time to really what I wanted it to be.
Well, if you did a 50% water change, I don't know how big the tank is, but if you did a 50% water change, that'd take it down to 40 straight away.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. The bigger the water change, the better. Because remember, your tanks just cycle, so that's the end of your cycle, really. When you hit high nitrates, that's theoretically the end of your cycle. Do you know what I mean? So the bigger the water change you can do, the better. And then knock the nitrates down as much as you can. And then, like Paul said, just add the fish, whatever the fish are. Add the fish in, put a bit of bacteria in there, and that's what I did. Put a bit of bacteria in, and that was it. I was away, you know what I mean? And then I started doing a couple more water changes, got it down, and then started using, the socks and stuff like that. And it just basically stabled itself out. And that's all you need to do. Big water changes, and you'll get there, mate.
Yeah, I'll just get into a routine.
In the water column, it's in the rockwork and the sand and so on, and in your biomedia. So
exactly.
Water change isn't going to affect your cycle. It's still going to be cycled, and the bacteria will still be there.
Yeah, absolutely. I was just getting into a routine now. Regular water changes every week, testing every week.
Yeah.
Put your fish in. I don't know about your lights. How long are you running your lights for? Because that's when potentially you start getting some algae over the next between a couple of weeks and a couple of months, really, depending on the tank.
Mm-hmm. A question here for Jay.
Oh,
given the negative publicity, have you experienced any issues you can apply to the TMC Eco Rock, particularly in a nano tank?
Yeah, that's a really good point. So there's a lot of people saying that it leaches silicates and it leaches all sorts of horrible nasties. I don't know if I just got a lucky box. I don't know. Possibly, but I've never had a problem with it.
So Jay, there was a Fred and Ultimate Reef that goes back quite a while, and people were having big problems. But I thought TMC had sorted it out. In as much as their most recent batches, it might be from when you've got it were okay. So I'd have to go back and Ultimate Reef, but people were complaining about it maybe a couple of years ago for a while. Yeah. So it could be that you got the new rock, because it was silicates, it was kind of metals.
Yeah.
There was a lot of debate, and people were just putting the rock into fresh salt water and testing the water, and whatever it was just going through the roof. So the only thing it could be was the rock itself, because it was clean water, and he was testing it without it in there, and obviously then testing it with there. So there was definitely issues with it. I don't think everyone got it, but there must have been some dodgy batches. I don't think it was all of it. But there was. If you had one of those, unlucky people were getting all kinds of things.
Yeah, I've never had that. I mean, I chose the Eco Rock because it looks like cycled rock to start with.
Yeah.
So you don't have to go through that really pale looking rock at the start. It looks like quite mature reef rocks. That's why I picked it. It's also not cheap. It's it's bloody expensive, really. So it should be good. But I feel sorry for anybody who's had problems, like Paul's just said. I think I just got maybe a lucky box, or I got a newer version that's just okay. I don't know.
I think a newer version. I'll have to go back and have a look. I'll have a look at the thread to see when it all kicked off, and then it's died down now. But people are still talking about it. But it's what they've had for ages, not new batches, from what I've read anyway.
It comes in different shapes. So for someone like me who's a beginner, it was so easy to scape, and actually quite a nice scape without too much effort. So I've been lucky, I think.
So there's one here from Haley who said that ICP test came back, not done a water change in 16 months. Only thing that was out was a few trace elements were low. Looks like a bit of water changes on the cards. And then she said down the bottom, still don't plan on regular water changes, but possibly a couple of refresh water changes a couple times a year. That's kind of what you done, Steve, wasn't it?
Exactly. And you know what, to be truthful, when I did it from what do you call it, a few weeks ago, well, say a few weeks, a couple of months ago, wasn't it now, before Christmas? The corals looked pretty decent. I only did it was only like a 10% or something like that, wasn't it? 30 litres or so. So it wasn't extra special, but I reckon if you did 20%, 25% every maybe 3 months or so, 4 months, just refreshes it, doesn't it? Just refreshes the water you have in the tank. But so I definitely think I might go that route, just to refresh the tank, really. Nothing. I know it's not going to change it massively, 20%, but we'll see how it goes, and it can't harm it, can it? You know what I mean? Because the salt I'm using is the DKH in it is similar to what I have my DKH at anyway. I mean, it's different if you had say the Red Sea bucket, say the higher one where it's like 11.2 or is it? Or 11.5?
Yeah, Red Sea Coal Pro. Yeah.
Pro, yeah. Then I would never use that because obviously it's gonna just shoot your alkalinity up, so it'll just be thing. But the Tropic Marine is in the line of what I have it at anyway. So I probably will do it because I've still got a full bucket there full of salt which I've just never used. You know what I mean? So I don't even actually know whether salt goes off. Does salt go off? I don't have a clue.
Really, no.
You know what I mean? Whether it does,
I think as long as it's sealed, I think it's sealed. You're okay. So if it's sealed, you're okay. But I think if it was open, then I think it does deteriorate. It's from I think I've read one and two articles on it. Yeah, but what I mean is but then you've used it and then you've put the seal, so it's airtight. Yeah.
I think with our advice, sorry,
go on.
I was just saying with Steve's advice, it's probably for more mature tanks. Like Haley's obviously got a mature tank. I wouldn't recommend people who have got a tank that's less than a year not to do water changes.
No,
they should be doing, 10% water changes quite regularly if you've got a new tank.
Absolutely. This tank behind me, I was religiously doing 10% every week. The same day in the morning to get into that routine. I was checking the water beforehand as well. And I think it really, really helped to make sure the elements were where they needed to be. And also not so much keeping nutrients in checks. I'm not too sure 10% does that if they're quite high. But for the alkalinity and all that kind of stuff, it works quite well.
Going back to the cycling discussion that we had earlier, not cycling, but cycling the tank. Brett Dyer's put a comment here saying, on the light subject, would you recommend time-wise for tank cycling 67 hours with 2 clowns in the tank? Now, I personally don't have the lights on at all when I cycle my tank, but I didn't have any fish in the tank when I done my cycle. I done the fishless cycle, so I don't think the lights being on is a good thing. Whether any of you guys can correct me on that, I don't know.
So in a sterile tank with too much light, it does feed the algae. It depends on what light you got. So if you've got like the radians or the hydras, you can always turn the intensity down. So you could turn the intensity down and have them running for 6, 7, 8 hours, and that would certainly help. What I wouldn't do is ramp it straight up. So if you've got adjustable lights, then maybe put the lights to a lower setting, because that would help. I've known some people that when they're cycling tank, they have fish in there and they've got enough light coming through the windows and that they don't put the lights on. So the fish still get a decent amount of natural light that comes through the window, but it depends where the tank is. So you could do that. You could just leave it no light on and natural light coming in. Or if they're adjustable, just turn the intensity down. Maybe have a look and see if it's like 10, 20%. Depends what lights you've got. So here we go. Red Reef, Reef 50, 70% blue. So is that the intensity is 70? Because sometimes you can put percentages and the overall intensity is lower. So I would probably try the intensity like 30, 35% to see what it looks like, and then gradually ramp it up maybe over a 3-4 week period. And see how that plays out. I did that with the tank in the garage, but I had no fish. I was blackout for the first 8 weeks, and I ramped it up over the next 3 weeks, and I had hardly any algae at all. Whereas in the floating aquascape, I had light from day one, and I had loads of greenhouse algae. And I did it deliberately in a way to see it was very different in terms of the outcome. And I just left the greenhouse algae, and it just went away in the end. But that's one way of reducing it.
Like Paul said, go low intensity and high spectrum on the blues. Just put a lot of blues, not hardly any white, like Brett as well said. The algae thrives off the white lights.
A couple of comments saying this isn't a hobby, it's an addiction. Completely agree with that one.
You're right.
A good one. And a few other people saying fishless cycle, no lights on. No tank out natural light. Set them to acclimation mode, so on. A good comment from Haley here actually. Started the tank from new tank, 16 months old, been reefing for years, and unless you understand water chemistry and are prepared to act, I would not advise new reefers to skip water changes. I can agree with that, to be honest with you. I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Totally agree.
Good advice, Haley. Really good advice.
Absolutely.
Talking about new reefers, right? I was watching BRS TV live yesterday. Some other people may have watched it. And this statistic shocked me so much. 87% of reefers don't make it past the first year with their tank.
I've heard them say that before about how many drop out.
I could not believe how much. Because we're talking about in terms of impact on livestock, and people obviously stocking it with all new tanks with fish and corals. And obviously, if 87% of them don't make it to a year, that's a lot of fish and corals that either get moved on or lost or killed. I just couldn't believe that statistic, how high it is. That is shocked me. It really did.
But if you set up a tank, you do full lights, you throw in colony works because it cycles the tank, nothing wrong with that. You then put the fish in. and you're not too sure what you're doing. You then throw some coral in as well, and all of a sudden, bang, the tank explodes with algae and cyano and everything else.
Yeah.
Trying to get that under control, no matter what you put in as chemicals, that's not going to come back overnight.
Yeah.
That's going to take a while to happen. If people's getting the wrong advice, you can see why you're thinking, well, I've done all that, I've had enough. Then you've got to spend more time trying to do it, and therefore how much you spend on it time-wise and money trying to put it right goes through the roof, and you think, I've had enough of this. This is rubbish. I'm going, and you're off. So you can see how it would happen or could happen.
Yeah,
you've got
for sure. Absolutely.
And get some good people around you.
Jay, I'm just going to completely destroy your night for you, mate, and ruin your night. Sorry.
But, no, are you going to get rid of me or something?
No.
Oh, yes. Where has he been?
Hello, stranger.
Where has he been?
He's back again.
It's good
Oh dear, Jay.
Yeah.
You better be good, Jay.
I don't know if it is good to see him, actually. He gives me so much grief, but I have missed him. I don't know where he's been. Anyway, good to see you, buddy.
Best behaviour now.
Yeah, I will be. As I said, it's good to have people around you in the hobby, because I wouldn't have got through the first year if I couldn't bounce ideas off you guys as well in here.
I completely agree.
You need it, don't you?
There's no way that you can survive the first year without like mentors and so on that can help you out. You need somebody that knows what they're doing that you can rely on. I mean, there's been so many stupid questions I've asked you guys that it's one of those things that you just, as long as you've got somebody there to ask the questions to and they can help you out, then brilliant, you'll be okay at that. The only thing I will say on that though is don't listen to what everybody tells you, because you'll get 10 different opinions on that. So
you'll do loads of changes and wreck it.
Yeah. Pick the people that you trust, or one or two people, even one person that you trust, and stick with their advice. Look at their tank. If their tank looks good, then go with that. That's the kind of way that I look at it anyway.
Yeah, absolutely right.
There's a comment here from NB Reefing saying, thinking of doing a blackout as he has green hair algae or bryopsis. How long would corals be okay without light? Now, I don't know if you've tried any other methods, but I used in fact, where's the shelf of products?
There we go. Where's the shelf? Something's coming down.
Yeah, the
shelf of products. I used that Flux RX.
That the Flux RX?
Yeah, and that works really, really, really well. The only thing I will say is after using that, whether it was a coincidence or not, I did end up with some cyano afterwards. So you can get rid of that as well afterwards. But that will save you doing a blackout, because that stuff works really, really well. So that would be my opinion on that. Blackout, I think, is probably a bit severe without trying that. But if you don't want to try that, then...
If you got corals, how long? Depends what corals you got.
I think about shipment as well, haven't you? The shipment they're blacked out, aren't they?
Yeah, but it depends on how long you got to go with blackout before the algae goes. Because if you do it, say 3, 4, 5 days, you'd probably be all right. Corals will be okay. But is that really going to wipe out the GHA? I'm not sure. So I suppose it depends on what corals have you got, and also how long have you had the green hair algae and how old's the tank? Because is it a fairly new tank? NB Reefing? I don't know. Whenever I've had green hair algae, I haven't really done much to it other than added fish to eat it, and then just try and drive the nutrients down, because your phosphate and nitrate could, I wouldn't say it's a false read, it's an accurate reading, but it's a reading because the algae's feeding off it, if that makes sense. And I've just tried to bring it down naturally. Sometimes it's taken a while, to be fair. I'm not sure if I've had bryopsis or not before. So that one is a little bit harder to get rid of, and I haven't had that before, so I'm not too sure how you get rid of that, to be honest.
No. Anyone else hear a bit of an echo?
Yeah, there was, yeah.
We've done all right. That's an hour, isn't it?
I know.
It's not me.
You said that every week, Steve.
I've not changed anything on this computer, so there's no way it can be anyway.
The one that's not echoing, remember, is the one that is.
Here we go. It's a weekly thing, isn't it?
I know.
Oh,
there's one for you, Jay, just to so you don't feel left out.
It's because I've just put the mud in. You missed that because you joined late, so I've just put the mud in. That's what it is.
Jay, we actually need a tour of your tank. I missed that last week. We need a Jay's real tank tour on the live stream.
What's that? I'm not doing it today.
Tank tour.
My lights going down and my corals are not all sticking out. Oh, so let me show you. I've had a bit of...
I'm not going to show you, but I'm going to show you. You're not going to turn the lights up, are you, Jay?
No, because it's not looking all that good at the moment. But let's just be honest with the viewers. We'll be honest. So
before we do that, Indie Reefing's come back and said he's used the Flux RX and it worked 80%, but it's coming back this April will be 2 years. Mostly softies, LPS, nitrates, 5 phosphates. So, like Paul said, those nitrate and phosphate figures will be masked. That won't be your real figures. You'll have much higher readings than that. So I would try and bring them down. If it's coming back, then that's got to be your issue. Your nitrate and phosphate must be too high, I would say. I would try and lower them down and try the Flux RX again. That's probably what I would do. But
also worth looking. I don't know if you've got a sump tank. Is the sump got loads of detritus in it? Because sometimes that could break down. Have you got any sponges you use? Is there any dead spots in the tank where some detritus or something could hide? Because that could be breaking down and creating nitrates. So just a thought.
So I've had a problem this week, which is that
but just generally, or you're on the wrong channel.
I've had 2 problems. One, I learned that glue goes out of date, which I never knew. Who'd have thought glue goes out of date? I wouldn't. And the other one, right? I tested my water the other day. No, I'll tell you what it was. I looked at my corals, and my torch corals looked a bit grumpy, and I was like, "Oh dear, what's going on here?" And then I thought, let me do my water test. So I did my water test. My magnesium has dropped from 1400 to 1280. And magnesium, as you know, is so important for LPS. Like your scullies, your torches, your hammers. And mate, they look so like peed off. I don't want to swear. Oh, it's past 9 o'clock. They look so pissed off, right? And I was like, what's going on? So I've been upping my magnesium in the last 24 hours, just trying to boost it back up. They looked a lot better today, but they're still like a bit, well, not too happy, to be honest. I'm boosting it back up. Also, my lights are going down as well.
Yeah, let's not play with Mobius tonight.
Yeah, that's not. So there you go, look. I don't think it's looking particularly good today, to be fair.
I think it looks all right. Just the torches are retracted.
Yeah, you see the torches look. I mean, they are going to sleep as well, but yeah. Don't ever let your magnesium drop. I don't know why mine's dropped though, to be honest. I can't get my head around it. But I was trying to push up to 1500 because LPS love it for colour and growth. But mine dropped to 1280. So now I'm boosting it back up again. This is the thing, right? This is the so if you don't dose your tank, because people say to me all the time, why are you dosing on a max nano? You don't need to dose and stuff like that. Which is fair point. But if I want to boost my magnesium up without a doser, the only way to do that is a water change. But then what I'm doing there is I'm taking my nitrates out, taking my phosphate out, which at the moment is a good level, it's stable. And therefore, by trying to fix the magnesium, if you haven't got a doser or you're not dosing it, then you could potentially crash your tank, couldn't you? Because you'd be stripping your nutrients out of it.
So is the doser working, Jay? Is the doser working for the magnesium? Because sometimes it might just stopped and then.
Yeah, right. You're right, Paul. So for some reason, one of my third line, which is my magnesium one, it gets airlocks in it. And it doesn't hold the liquid. All the other 3 do, but one of them doesn't, and it's the magnesium one. And over the last, obviously, I don't know, 3 months or whatever, where it's supposed to be dosing the 1.2 mil, it's been dosing sporadically. So sometimes it's done something, sometimes it's not. And I don't know how to prime the line so it actually stays primed. I keep priming it, but then it keeps.
You know what you need to get. I've got on my dosers, and it never misses a beat. Is the check valves? Get the check valves, Stick the check valves near the end, right near the end where you're dosing, and it'll keep it primed 100%. 1 million check valves. So you cut the line closer to where it's going in, The check valve, what it does is it holds the air in, so it blocks it. So once it's dosed, it lets the fluid go through it. Then once it's dosed it blocks the air, so the liquid can't go back. You know what I mean? Or any air comes through it. and I've got all of them on mine, and it never.
So
never.
Are you putting it just outside the dosing container, or are you putting it right near the end of the dosing line up here?
It's going to near the end. Yeah.
So is that on the way out, Steve? Is that on the way out, on the way in?
What's that, sorry?
So so you've got the container, and then you've got your tube that goes into the doser. Is it there, or is it on the way out?
On the way out.
Right. Okay. So when it leaves, whereabouts you put it? Right by the doser, or by the tip at the end?
No, it's probably more towards the end, more than halfway up. You know what I mean? Up the tubing. Right. Yeah. That means because what it's done is it sucks the liquid up out the container. Yeah. Goes all the way up. Yeah. But if when I didn't have that, it was doing the same because I was only dosing a little amount. Yeah. I found that every time I went to check, whether it was running right. Yeah. You press it to calibrate it, and where you've going all the way through, it never went through. You'd hear it come through, and then a drop will come through, then a little bit of air, and then the liquid will come through. So it wasn't getting the foot. So say for instance, I wanted to dose 10 mil, I wasn't getting 10 mil. It might only dose like 6 mil or 5 mil. Do you know what I mean? Because there wasn't enough. It wasn't going through. So then when I put those check valves on it, it blocks it going back into the container. So it's put. And I swear to God, I could go on it now, press it to just like manually dose it, and it'll go straight in. There'll be no air in it. It'll just pour the liquid straight through it. I got them from Amazon for I think they were about £4.50 or something for 20. And you just stick it on the tubing.
Yeah.
Make sure it's going in the right direction. Stick it in the other end, and they have never had an issue, mate, whatsoever, ever.
Right.
And
I always thought that they should have been closer to the dozer end than the tank end.
It makes sense, Ross.
Yeah, I've always in industrial scenarios. I mean, you should always have been closer to your pump or whatever.
To the pump. Yeah.
If you've got a line going up, that line's always going to be full. Whereas if you've got the check valve at the top, then it can, in theory, drain back down into your container.
Yeah.
So you want basically as close to the dosing pump or the container so that the line will stay full above that. That's my understanding of it.
So you would say near the dosing container then, Ross, because then it goes through and it doesn't come back down and it builds up and up and up. So the air eventually gets pushed through. That makes makes sense. There you go, Jay.
That's just in an industrial application. That's the way I've always seen it.
But that makes sense what you're saying.
Yeah, I don't know if there'll be a massive difference in those lines.
I don't know if you can see now, but
hang on, I'll put you full screen, Jay.
So can you see the yellow line there?
Yeah.
So this is the yellow one. That's the magnesium lock there, and it's just got air in it at the moment again. Whereas that one, you can see, it's got fluid in it, which is the calcium. That's the alkalinity. Yeah. So what you're saying is, do I put the check valve here, right out the container, or do I put it after the pump?
Halfway up,
back here.
Halfway up there. Yeah.
I would put it as close to where it goes into your dosing container as possible, mate. If it was me, that's where I would put it.
Right.
What? So just around here.
Yeah.
It probably isn't going to make much of a difference because it's a short piece of tube, but I see where you're both coming from.
Yeah. All right, because you can see it's empty now, look.
In theory, anything below your check valve can be empty. Anything above that will hold water or liquid or whatever it is in it. So that's kind of my understanding of it anyway.
Yeah. But also look at 1.5 mil is hardly anything in that tube. So therefore, if you was to dose it now, it wouldn't even reach the doser. So as you say, you've got to prime it, and then it will come back. And so nearer to the doser, because if it was like 5 or 10 milli, you probably wouldn't notice so much because it'd be a lot fuller, wouldn't it? But because on that basis, there's nothing to go in, is there? There's no liquid.
Yeah, but it's been working. It's been working well on it, Jay. It's been working.
It's intermittent. I mean, the other two have been really reliable, and the aminos has been fine. It's just that magnesium one. I don't know why. When all the pipe works exactly the same length for each one. I don't understand why this one seems to just get air in it.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, if I get them check valves, it should work then, shouldn't it?
Yeah, they work, mate, definitely. They work.
But if anybody's watching, check your magnesium and don't ever let it drop because your LPS just start bailing out.
So would your app on the dosers not tell you that, Jay, that you've been dosing unequally, or does it not work that way?
What's that, sorry, mate?
Would the app on your doser not tell you that you've not been dosing enough, or
no? It actually doesn't. So that on that P dose that I've got, the D&D P4, It doesn't. The only way you can find out, obviously, is on the app. It tells you how full your bottle is.
Yeah.
And then obviously it'll say like I've got 100 ml left, and then I go in the cupboard and there's like 250 ml. I'm like, what have you been doing for the last month? You haven't been putting any in. So that's the only way you work it out. But there's no like alarm or alert or anything on it, which, you know, in theory there should be really.
Yeah.
But, yeah. So I've had magnesium problems this week, gents, but I'm onto it now. I'm slowly raising it up. I'm dosing 4 ml. I've dosed 8 ml today in different stages, just to try and get it back up. So I know you can have magnesium at 1500 quite happily. I know Fragbox Corals, he promotes elevated magnesium, LPS growth and coloration, and torches magnesium, don't they?
Yeah.
So
So this probably links in this question here to the whole thing with the tropic marine salt recently. But what do you guys to clean out your mixing bin, and how often do you do it? So I don't mix any salt in advance. I mix my salt as I'm doing my water change. So, you know, it only takes me 15 minutes to mix it up. So I do a 10-litre water change in that little tank every time. I've got a 10-litre bucket, fill that with the RO water, add in my salt. 15 minutes later, it goes in the tank. I've got a heater and so on in it as well. But I keep the water at room temperature beforehand so that I know that it's ready to go. Then you just need to heat it up a little bit and that's it done. So that's the way I do it. Therefore, I don't have a mixing bin, so I don't need to clean it out very well. I don't clean it out at all. It's just a bucket that I use.
So I rinse them out, and then secondly, every so often I use citric acid, which is the same that I use to clean the power heads.
Yeah.
And that seems to keep them fairly clean. Especially if you've got the 25-litre ones, they've got a small lid, then you can't really get your hands in there. And so therefore citric acid does well to get any algae or anything out of them.
Yeah.
Seems to work.
Yeah. So this doesn't really bring me on, but I'm going to mention it anyway. I've got a reefing product of the week that's not a reefing product for you guys. This is on par with the lambing gloves.
Okay.
What's coming out here?
I don't know if you're ready for this one. This isn't even in a video. I'll give you a little clue of where it came from, right? You ready?
I can't see it.
Yeah, it's very bright.
Algae.
Mid-Lyle.
Algae.
Oh, I reckon it's some sort of cutting device.
So this came from algae, and I think this will be perfect for reef tanks.
Okay.
Isn't it? And it's
not.
It's a reusable produce bag. Look at that. That there is the perfect media bag. And guess how much they are for those bags?
5p.
25 pence.
Yeah, but Ross, the amount of media that you need to put in that bag.
That'll fit over the Pico.
25 pence.
Wow, yeah.
Hey, fair play to you.
Look at that.
So
little drawstring on the top there. I think 8.
You bought 8 of them. You can't beat that.
Yeah.
You know what? Funny you should say that, because you know what, I was at a Crack of Corals the other day, and I seen them, and they had the bags in their thing, and they were like £7, you know, for 2 of them, the ones that are on the, you know, hung up a certain make. I'm not going to mention the name, but for 2 bags, 2 media bags, £7. And then he went, Jamal said to me, yeah, I've got these ones here, what they had made, and they were £1 a bag, just like a material type. Like, let me go get one. Actually,
that Aldi sign though has probably got lead-based paint in it. You'll put that in your tank; it'll all just wash off. And
no, it all comes off, mate. You can just rip it off.
On the label.
So you don't get anything. Just the label. You can take them all off. Look at that. A couple of comments saying it could be your hairnet, Jay.
Absolutely. Well, it was the hairnet from last week, wasn't it?
that is right.
So yeah, I mean, it is a big bag, but for 25 pence, you can tie a knot in it or whatever you want to do and stick some media in it.
You can tie a knot in it. There you go. Your reefing tip. Tie a knot in it, Ross.
Tie a knot
in it. Always tie a knot in it. So there's my reefing product of the week for you guys. That's
fair play. 25p. Can't beat that.
Yeah.
We're full of Valentine's Day tips here, aren't we? That's what it is.
Hey, there's no gift caps on that, is there?
Like not in it.
£7 for a couple of them.
What, especially for Valentine's Day?
Special for Valentine's Day. The tip of the day is tie a knot in it.
Yeah, Cottage Reef's just put there 25 pence for the bag and £100 to fill it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh dear. That's a good little tip. That is money saving tip from the bearded one.
I know. Really good. 25 pence. I thought that was a bargain.
What were you doing in Aldi with COVID, by the way?
I wasn't.
Yeah.
Do shopping, mate. That's not my department. That was got one of them, did you? I want to go back and get some more. So yeah.
I hope you're wearing your mask.
No. I actually, in all honesty, I could not tell you the last time that I was at a shop, supermarket, anything like that. I cannot stand it. My blood pressure goes through the roof and I end up getting severely angry.
I can't believe that. I really can't.
No, I don't believe that, Russ. No,
you're not class like Kraken and places like that. Ness's Lair is a shop.
You could do. So the last time I was at a shop was when I was down at Kraken in January.
That's nice shopping though, isn't it? That is.
Yeah.
Trying to buy corals.
Yeah, it is a cracker. Howard's put, okay, gents, if I give you £1,000 to spend on your tanks now, what would you buy? Wow, I know what I'm going to buy anyway.
Ooh.
And it's not a coral either. There won't be corals either because I've got no room for corals, so it won't be coral. It'll be equipment.
I think I know what I would buy as well, and it would be equipment.
Yeah, yeah.
I think for me it would be the GHL monitoring stuff.
Yeah.
That's what I would go for.
Yeah. You get that for £1,000 for sure.
So why would you choose that then, Ross, over some of the others?
In all honesty, I like the look of it better than I like the look of likes of the Apex and so on. I don't like the look of Apex. I don't know why. I just don't like the look of it. Whereas I really like the look of the GHL stuff, the Proflux and so on. They call it.
I agree with you, but for me, with the looks, I don't want to look at the monitor. For me, it's like as long as it does the job, that Apex has never let me down. You know what? I've got the water probes. So I had a little tiny leak, on the original one. And I was like, what the hell? And it came from the seam. And I was like, and if it wouldn't have had them, it would have flooded the whole tank. But what I did was I dialed it in and then I programmed leak detection kit. If it leaked, to switch the pumps off. So it switched the return pump off. But obviously it kept the thing. And that's the good thing with all those controllers is you can set them, you program them to do whatever you want, with them. Yeah. So without that, I would have been coming home to a house flooded with 170 litres of water. You know what I mean? It would have just been an absolute nightmare. So for me, the GHL looks absolutely stunning. It looks like you can have it on show, can't you? You know what I mean? You can have it on show for sure. Do you know what I mean? But for, like the Apex, it does its thing. And I wouldn't obviously have that on show because it's just in a cupboard and doing its thing. But as long as it does what it's made for, then that's for me is like perfect. You know what I mean?
I think the GHL and the Apex are both very similar on what they can do. I don't think there's massive differences between them.
I don't think there is.
I think that's probably why I say that I would like the GHL over the Apex purely for the fact that it looks better.
It looks good. Of course it does. Yeah.
I don't think there's massive differences in functionality of the two. I think the two of them are very comparable with that.
Yeah, with the Apex, you can buy loads of bells and whistles for it, like the leak test, for example, and you can fix up your auto top off. And there's other modules that you can use for it. I don't know enough about GHL to say what other things could you add to it. And also with the Apex, we've never done before, you can have a breakout box in it, and you can put other things on your tank, connect them to the Apex and control them for it. So you've got a lot of flexibility and you can do different programs on it. But I've never done those, but I've seen others do that.
Part about his programming. But the good thing with it is the forums. The forums forum is fantastic. When I was dialing mine in with my pumps and my skimmer, so like, originally I used to turn off my return pump. But then when you turn your return pump off, and think your skimmer was going on still. So then, because the water raised in your sump, the skimmer would go mad. You know what I mean? So it was like, so then I was like, is there a program that you can type in to when I switch the pump off, that the skimmer goes off and then the skimmer comes back on 5 minutes after I put my return pump on? And this guy just emailed me saying, yeah, do this. And it was like some stupid, insane code. You know, NASA scientist user. I was like, what? I didn't have a clue. And you typed it in and it was perfect. Turn the pump off, turn the return pump off, and the skimmer went straight off at the same time. So the hardest thing about it is programming it. That's just like...
Well, with Fusion, it's a lot easier because I had the original one where you have to put all the code in. But with Fusion, you can just say this port, turn it off from X time to Y time. And then you press save and it does it. So it is a lot easier now than it used to be. But it used to be a real pain.
Yeah.
I must say thanks to Haley for that comment. That's a brilliant one.
Yeah, thanks, Haley.
You suck in the nicest way, obviously.
I think I know what Paul would buy.
Go on then.
Somewhere to put that. What's it called now? The Clarisy there. You need
the Clarisy.
A cabinet for the Clarisy. It's been there about 3 weeks.
Yeah, well, I made it, didn't I? The week before last, although Steve gave me some feedback to say you haven't made it because it already comes ready-made. So thank you for that. So yeah, after tonight, if he was going to talk about it, I was going to talk about it because I didn't mention it last week. And then it's going into the sump over the weekend.
I want to hear about the big build at some point tonight. You need to squeeze that in.
Okay, we did it. So with 1,000, go on. Do you finish? I was going to say what I'd spend 1,000 on.
No, I was going to say let's talk about that, but we'll do 1,000 first, and then we'll come to your Clarisy.
So someone locally is selling a white tip, same as Steve. What's that? A Holy Grail or Holy Moly or whatever it is. Torch for 350 quid, which I don't think is a bad price. Probably about the going rate.
Yeah,
so I would use it for that because I wouldn't. Unless someone gave me $1,000, I wouldn't spend 350 quid on a torch, I must admit. So there's that. And I'd probably even spend the money on, I'd save it and spend it on the Red Sea equivalent of Clarisy, because then I could compare the Red Sea one to the Clarisy and do a comparison on that. And then if I had some left, another rainbow chalice might fall into my tank. So that's what I would spend $1,000 on.
Nice.
Yeah.
I would get some nice A-cans. I'm desperate for some like rainbow A-cans. A bit like Secret Reefs. I'd love them. I'd get some more Miracle Mud. Or mud. It's good stuff.
That's a lot of mud.
I'd get that valve that you lot were talking about. So I reckon that's 300 quid. And then I'd say
that's a lot of valves.
This is going to take a while, I think.
No, I wouldn't spend £1,000 on valves. But yeah. And then that would be about, I don't know, 300-400 quid. And then I'd save the rest for an upgrade. That's what I have to do.
Blackouts knows exactly what you would do.
I can't believe they haven't sponsored me. I've said it in every video. They still don't sponsor me. Unbelievable.
They must not be into reefing, mate. That's all it can be.
I don't think they are into reefing. Yeah. Well, that's what I would do. Yeah, I'd get those. But yeah, I want some A-cans. I really want some really nice A-cans. Or macro.
I would strip everything. I would strip everything out on my dozer and put a calcium reactor. I'd buy a state-of-the-art calcium reactor and run it with calcium reactor in that tank. If I could, that's what I'd do for sure. It's just a lot easier, you know, rather than mixing solutions up. And I'd rather do. What's that?
They just try and overcomplicate things with all this fancy equipment. You don't see all this stuff on the sea, do you? You know what I mean? Just keep it simple.
Jay,
I remember the last time I saw a Clarisy down on the Barrier Reef.
Probably needs it.
I did see some mud. I did see plenty of mud. There you go.
Yeah, there's loads of mud. There's loads of mud down the Thames estuary. Doesn't do that any good.
On that theory, Jay will be the next one to try snorkeling in his tank.
Yeah.
I'm sure they've got one of those in the middle aisle at Aldi. I might go buy one. Little mask.
Go for it.
Oh, dear.
Oh,
brilliant. So, the Clarity, Paul, tell us the story.
Well,
I built this one. It's the only one in the world.
Well, I say you build it. Steve says you don't. So
hey, come on now.
So this is a Clarity 3. On the second one, you have to build the shell. With this one, you don't have to build the shell, but you have to put all this on, which for someone who's pretty used to DIY, it did take me quite a while. But overall, it's a lot quicker. I think it's a lot sturdier than the Gen 2. So that's a lot better. And actually, to change the roll, I think it's going to be a lot easier. You can just lift it out. Because on your one, or the one I had before, you have to unscrew it around here.
Yeah.
And it's a real ball's ache to try and change it. So I think they've done some mods to it. Also, where are we? You've got over here these, whereas before they would just push in, then the connections now actually screwed together. So I think that helps with salt creep and stuff like that. So overall, I think it's a
same on the 2 version. Same on the 2 version. You have the screw ones. You know on the motor part.
Yeah.
You know on the motor. You know on the motor. Yeah. You know where it hang on the same side. Yeah, that side where it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there like a certain way, like a certain fitting of the way that you put it in? Because remember on the old version on the 2, they had like a line that you had to line it up. Because otherwise, if you didn't line it up and you didn't tighten it on, like it had like a line right across the plastic, and it had to be
this one just slots in. This one's slotted in really nicely. I've tested it; it works okay. Obviously, test the time when it goes in the sump next week. But overall, I think it's a better build than before because you haven't got to put it together yourself. So it's a stronger structure. Not that I had a problem with the older structure, to be fair. But in terms of size, exactly the same size. The test will be, can I change this without taking it out? Because every time I've had to take it out, which is a real bull's ache. But to be able to do that, if I can change that in the sump, that'll make all the difference.
Why did you take it out?
I couldn't get it. I couldn't change it. So I ended up taking it out. I mean, I cleaned it at the same time as well, to be fair. And I only changed it every about 4 months or so. So there's loads of crud in there. So I took an opportunity. But I really struggled to change it without taking it out. I'm sure there's people who've got it.
Because when mine's running out, I actually slice the whatever remaining. I actually slice it off, and then I put the new roll, and then what I'll do is I staple it. So I'll put 3 staples on the end, and then I feed it through, and then it actually goes all the way through it. You know what I mean? Comes out the other end, and then I don't need to obviously get my hand in and take it out. But I staple it. It's so easier.
But one thing I forgot though, I forget and it runs out. So it's a schoolboy error. So that was a problem. But I mean, I like the Gen 2 one. It really helps. I think I had better water clarity with that than I've not been running a Clarity for about 4 months. The sump is absolutely filthy, and the water column's not as clean as it was before. But the Cheeto's absolutely loving it because it's growing all over the place. And actually, I've taken the skimmer out as well. So actually, on 3 tanks, I haven't got a skimmer running on any of the tanks.
I was going to ask that.
I've turned all the skimmers off. I mean, that one obviously because I was breaking that down, but I've turned the skimmer off, and the corals I've got left in here look better than ever. The colour on them is absolutely stunning. And like you've said, I've got blue tip aquaporos that are growing out of the water. I just leave them because once they're out of the water, they don't tend to grow anymore. Because if I snip them off, the tips either go a bit yuck and they'll get a bit of algae on them, or they'll just grow back anyway. So I just leave them when things growing out of the water. But I haven't noticed any difference in any of the tanks since switching off skimmer. No noticeable difference. I'm not saying it doesn't make a difference, but I haven't noticed it at all. But then I've got other filtration on them. But I've got to say the easiest tank to run is the one with the Refugium. It just soaks things up, and I just put some other trace elements in every so often, and an ICP to make sure. But
so you're talking about forgetting to change the filter on the Clarity, or the roll, sorry. Does the new Red Sea one not have an alarm that alerts?
No, this has got an alarm on it. But what I'm saying is the alarm goes off, it's out, and so what Steve does before he gets to the end, he rolls and he puts a new one onto the existing roll. Whereas I forget, the alarm goes off and it's run out, and then I've got to faff around.
Yeah, okay.
But I would like to see the Red Sea one and just do a comparison of the 2.
That Red Sea one though, because it's got an app. I've read up in it because it's got an app. It does notify you of when the actual roll is running out, because the roll is, say for instance, is 40 meters. Say for argument's sake, when it's coming to like you can set it to when you want it, I believe. So if it's like 2 meters to go or a meter to go, you can set, and it'll notify you when it's coming close to it, which I think is fantastic. You know what I mean? That is like top quality of that, but. It does look big to me. I don't know whether it's just my eyes or what. I don't know, but it looks a lot larger than the clarity. You know what I mean? I saw it and it looks huge. When I seen it, I was like, that can't fit in normal sump, surely. But until I actually see one, which I haven't seen yet, you know what I mean?
It's hard to judge, isn't it?
Yeah, it's hard to judge. I don't know, but they definitely look a lot bigger than the clarity for sure. You know what I mean? But
yeah,
they are good the way they are, and they're a similar price.
So if you've got a sump, all these things do the same thing. They export nutrients, but put them in order. So Refugium, clarity, and a skimmer.
Oh, that's hard.
Which one do you think is the most effective? If you could only have one, which one would you go with? And then what's the second best? What would you say the third best is? I'm just interested because I don't have those.
It's tricky.
You just said Refugium.
I do like Refugium, but it's really messy, and you have to clean some of the cruds out from it so it doesn't start going into your return pump and back. But actually, the nutrients have been really good on that tank, and I do hardly any maintenance on that. So, but then it's set up. I've got a Refugium in there and the heater, and that's it, nothing else. And I've got a pH probe, and that's it. So you need a little bit of room for it. So I'm using one, the big chamber, the first chamber on the 900 is all for the Refugium, and now it's spreading across because the light, you got to spill into the middle chamber. So now it's spreading over there. So I've got nothing else in it other than the heater. So that works okay. But I'd say the water clarity isn't as good. That's the downside. So it's a nutrient's good. So if I was looking at just for like water clarity in that, I'd probably go with the clarity.
Right.
Yeah.
Because obviously Ross has got this dilemma as well. He's been thinking which ones to use. Is he going to use all? You probably know you're going to use all three. I don't know, Ross. I don't know which ones you're going to go with, but
no. So my plan is, and what I've bought already, is to go with a filter floss cup to start with. I'm throwing away the socks. I'm not using the socks. I don't like them. So it'll be filter floss to the cup, and after that, just a skimmer. I was going to do a Refugium, but I don't think I'm going to do it. I think I'm just going to do a skimmer, see how I get on with that. I've never run a skimmer because I don't run one on that tank, so it's a kind of new thing for me. I'm going to try it and see. Worst case, I might just go down the Refugium route, I think. But I'm not doing a clarity or a filter roller or anything like that, purely because of the fact that I want to hack some bits to put it in. So that's my plan just now anyway, is the skimmer and filter floss.
Interesting.
Yeah,
it's interesting how a lot of people put skimmers lower down, and that's what I've always said, like, the best thing that I ever added into my sump was my clarity. Always, I've said it all along, and I won't go back on it. Since I added that, and you can dial it in on how much nutrients you want to go through it. You know what I mean? So you can open the gate valve, the check valve on it, and you know what I mean? You can open it up as much as you want or as little as you want, or completely close it. You know what I mean? So you have that adjustment of how much you want going through, passing through your tank. So I just think since I put it on, it's just perfect. I love it. Yeah. I love that stuff.
Yeah, there's some good comments in the chat around skimmer. It can help pH because of the oxygen. When I had a high bioload in there, then definitely a skimmer because the amount of crud it pulls out. But I haven't got a high bioload in the other two tanks. I've got I've only got 4 fish in the 280. I will have more fish once I close this tank down. They'll go in there for a holding tank. So as it's quite low bioload, I don't really need anything. But where I had tangs in there and everything else, I got a 1,000-litre skimmer in that one. It's only 450 for that very reason. And the gunk it was pulling out, and also it pulls out other stuff that's not very good for the tank as well. So I'm not saying don't run a skimmer, but I think it depends on your setup as well, would be my view.
Yeah. So I'm just going to completely change the subject here. There's a comment back up the chat a bit from Howard. Now, I don't honestly know who these people are, but I think this comment's worth putting on the screen. James.
Sorry. I just like to nod off on our live streams now and again.
I've noticed.
What's this? Can you read it to me? It's long, that is, for a Friday night.
I'm not reading it to you, your dad.
Reading my story.
Story time. Right. I could lose. Who is? Well, I am.
What's his J at the beginning?
Who's Thomas Schaffenacre? Who's that?
No idea.
Never heard of him.
I don't know. Still obviously become dancing next year.
But I think I would pay good money to see that, to be honest.
What? Me dancing? Yeah. That's Steve. Steve's the dancer, not me.
Oh,
no. Dances with
Sally.
All
would have been out on the night. All would have been out on the night.
You had a request for Sally in the background tonight, and you've let everybody down.
Oh yeah, that was the request, wasn't it? As the backdrop, the green screen was supposed to be Sally.
I'll take a photo of her tonight. We'll put it.
That sounds so wrong on so many fronts.
Yeah, let me rephrase that. I'll take a picture of Sally tonight. Yeah.
Ross is going to lend me his hairnet. No, it's bought them from Aldi. I'll have one of them.
Cool, then you can go and buy your own. They're only 25p.
Can't believe Christian from Signature Frags. Everybody's on about my hair all the time now for the last 3 weeks.
Yeah, but it didn't help because you got the hair dye out, didn't you? Let's face it, you got the hair dye out, which gave you more flack.
Well, someone's accused me of using Just for Men, so I thought, well, to be fair,
true.
They've guessed right.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Is there any good? We've had lots of good reefing questions tonight. Let's find another one. There must be another one there.
There's one here that says, for somebody new to the hobby, would you recommend starting with a Red Sea Max Nano or a 170? And the chat seems to be overwhelmed with 170.
Perfect.
So I've got a Red Sea 170, and it's really good. I really like it. Of all the free tanks, the 170 is the favourite of mine. The small. I'm now coming around to I like smaller tanks. I've got a 450, 280, 170, and the 170 is probably my favourite at the moment. To be fair, I do swing from one tank to another, but at the moment, 170 is my favourite. But don't tell the others.
I think the 170 is the same size as this tank that I've got, the Waterbox one, isn't it?
It's 2 foot,
2 foot
wide by front to back. I think is 50 centimeters to 200. I think is 2x2. I think. Yeah. So it just fits quite nicely, but you can get a deeper tank from front to back, which is the 200 XL.
Yeah.
You've got a sump underneath, haven't you? With no.
Yeah, it's nice. You haven't got much room. That's the downside. But as it's in the garage, I keep a lot of stuff. And I haven't got that much in it. I've just got a skimmer and some bio-balls and a heater. So it's quite low maintenance. And the dose is outside the tank, to be fair, to your point, Jay. So it is outside. But I like it. I think it's a nice tank.
Yeah, it's good. To be fair, I like the size of it better than mine.
That was the tank I started on. So the 170. First tank before I got the 350. So yeah, brilliant tank, brilliant for a beginner. You know what I mean? And when I paid it, it was the same. I think it was like £700 or something. So it wasn't that much. Do you know what I mean? But obviously the prices now have gone straight through the roof. I think they're over £1,000 now. I think.
So they are. I paid 200 quid for mine, second hand. It was a year old, and I've had it 3 years maybe in different guises. So it was an absolute bargain. 200 quid plus I got a heater and the return pump I got with it. I'm still running some really old non-controllable return pump. In fact, an e-home pump. That I use on it, and I never switch it off. And touch wood, it just goes and goes and goes.
Yeah.
And a heater come with it, so I didn't actually buy anything for it when I got it. I got it as a frag tank originally, but
they're good. Yeah, definitely. 170s, you can't go wrong. In fact, you can't go wrong with any of them. To be truthful, Red Sea Max. Yeah. You know what I mean? I know what Jay's got, and then a 170. It just depends on how much water volume you want. What's the C Max is only 75 litres, isn't it? 80 litres or so. So, you know what I mean? Compared to a 170, it's an extra 100 litres, isn't it?
Last longer. That's the thing.
Yeah.
This one doesn't last as long.
And the 170 is similar to yours, Ross, isn't it? Yours 2x2.
600 by 500 by 500. So
right, so that's similar to the 170. And how many litres is it? Probably can't be that dissimilar.
200, I think it is.
200 litres.
I think the sump's bigger on mine than it is on the 170. I think that's the only difference, really.
Yeah. So, Waterbox, I think the one you've got is very, very, very similar to the 170. They're going to be, aren't they? You've got the weir in the same place. Got a sump.
Yeah.
There's not much difference other than that. Has he got a cabinet? I mean, that's it.
I think it is just the actual volume in the sump that makes the difference. I think the display volumes are very similar, but the sump volume in the Waterbox one's slightly bigger from what I've read anyway.
Yeah. Does your sump actually go from side to side so it nearly touches the cabinet on both sides?
Yeah.
Yeah, because the 170's probably got, I don't know, maybe 8 centimeters as a gap, so that might be the difference. So you can put some dosing containers down there, down the side if I wanted to, and then mount a doser on the left-hand side, and it would be not above the sump to the side. So there's a little bit of a dry area, but nothing really worth mentioning that much. But good tank.
Brilliant.
I reckon it might be, to be honest. When I'm rubbing it in like that, flies around the room.
But then, Lauren's got a comment here as well, though, saying that all you need to do is get yourself an algae hair net, and that'll deter you from doing it.
Oh, thanks, Lauren.
So
she's got a live coming up soon as well with Reef Dog.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I think before we get too close to the end of the stream, I'll ask how the Pico tanks are doing. Sorry, Jay, I know you can't really join in this one, but Paul, Steve, how are yours getting on?
Going well, mate. Yeah. I added that little piece of Monty Poro, but obviously it was just too early for that stage. You know what I mean? So I think it started to brown out. So I did. Yeah, it was ambitious of me, but you know what? You got to try, haven't you? You know what I mean? But yeah, it was too early. So I think I'm going to go a different route and just maybe go like just Zoa rocks, like do it all Zoas and stuff like that. I think until it gets established. But I'm going to do my water change on it tomorrow. 100 litres, 100 litres, 100%. You know what I mean? And then 100 litres, 100%. Yeah, 100% water change, and we'll see how it goes. But yeah. No, it's doing okay, mate. It's no leaks, so that's the main thing. You know what I mean? I was more concerned about leaks. No, it's got off. I've switched off, mate. So there'll be nothing in it.
Yeah, let's not have a repeat of last week.
Oh yeah,
that's what I was aiming for.
He disappeared, and all we had is his head on the screen, didn't we? It was bizarre, like a ghost.
Hey,
that's what we were hoping for. There you go.
Oh, Jay's built his. There we go. It's done.
Well, it's only that how quickly. Now put some water in it, Jay.
I'm going to put a Monty Poro in it now just to see if it works.
Monty Poro.
Let's see it, Jay. Get some water in it.
Yeah.
As simple as that.
See, Jay, you can do it. I don't know what you're worried about.
Oh, thanks, mate. Thanks for the confidence. Thanks for the confidence, Bo. Appreciate that.
I have full confidence in you, mate. I'm
kind of desperate to see what you put in that tank now, Jay.
Which one? This little one?
Yeah.
No, not...
What light you got? What light you gonna go with?
I will have it as a practice, but not. I'm not gonna put anything in it, really.
Have you got enough sand for
it? I've got plenty of sand. Got plenty of sand to bury it twice over. Yeah.
There's a comment here saying that we should do shots on the live stream. There was an edition where we were doing some drinking, and it didn't really. Well, it did go well. It was a popular one, but there was a bit of carnage on that drunk edition, wasn't there?
We should do shots of our tank water, because if it's good enough for the fish, it's good enough for us.
I'll let you go first, Jay.
Yeah. You go first, Jay.
Well, it must be good. Mine's got no magnesium in it at the moment, though.
The drunk episode is the one where we've seen Sally, isn't it?
Shots, wow! I thought that could go the wrong direction very quickly.
Just go wrong.
I think that's the one we seen Sally, though, wasn't it, in the drunk episode?
Well, yeah.
Yeah, it was.
As you know me, Ross, I like to keep it professional.
Oh, obviously, yeah.
Absolutely, yeah.
There's a comment here saying that Lego has offered Jay a CEO job. Unfortunately, it was Jay's son that built the tank anyway, so they can't even offer Jay that job.
He did actually.
He's been offered the job.
I didn't even build that one.
No.
I mean, I never had ambitions to build a tank, to be fair. I'm quite happy just to buy one. Didn't have ambitions to build one. And the reason why I'm putting it off is because I am actually quite nervous about it. I don't know why, but I'm quite nervous about this one.
What, you're putting off building that tank?
Never have noticed.
Yeah.
I didn't realise that, mate.
I'm a bit worried about it going completely wrong, to be fair.
You've only had it for what, 3 months?
It's not so much the build. It's not so much the building. It's the keeping 3 litres of water stable. It's just going to be like absolute. I don't want to swear again, but a ball ache.
Well, so let's see the little people that I've got sitting here. That's the first full week that I haven't topped up any water on it, and I'm not joking. You're lucky if it's evaporated a couple of mil. There is next to no evaporation on it.
Yeah,
I haven't had to top it up at all. I marked it with a pen line when I first filled it up, and it's maybe dropped a millimetre at best over a week below that pen line. That's with both the lids on it, and that, I mean, seems to be going okay. Touch wood so far. So I think
you don't tend to get much evaporation in Scotland in February, do you?
No, not really. Although this time of year is worse than the summer.
It's not known for it, is it really?
Yeah.
As opposed to near the equator where you live, Jay.
No, it's red hot in Derby. I'm glad it's not evaporating there in mid-February. You wait to June when it gets to 15 degrees in Scotland.
The crazy thing is, though, Jay, we've got an invention called heating that keeps our house the same temperature all year round. I don't know if you've heard of that or not.
Yeah, you probably get it for free as well up there.
Yeah. But no, it does all right, actually, to be fair. So, I mean, I haven't done any water tests on it, and I'll be honest with you, I'm not planning on doing water tests on the Pico tank. I'm just going to do my weekly water changes, have a look at it. If the corals look unhappy, then I'll check things, but I'm not planning on doing water tests on a 3 litre tank every week. That's not really going to happen.
Yeah, I've got a coral.
I added 3 river shrimp into it, and they're all alive still. So that makes so that must be something, you know what I mean? Because they're all still alive, so the water must be okay. You know those shrimps that you feed the fish.
Where did you get them shrimp from?
Those shrimps that you feed the fish, you know what you can buy, like 20 for £5 or something. Them things. So I bought a bag of them, obviously, like 20 to feed the clownfish and all that, yeah. And then I just thought I put a few in here, you know, in the little Pico. And you know what? They're all alive, mate. So you know what I mean? They bang on. I feed them a little bit of the mysis shrimp while I feed the fish. Look, like a few little droplets of them, and they're all still alive, mate. So
you put a freshwater creature in saltwater?
No, the river shrimp. The river shrimp feeder bags. You know the what? Sorry,
river shrimp.
Yeah, you know those the shrimps that you can buy from the shop that you feed.
Aren't they? They're freshwater.
No, they're not. No, they're not.
Yeah.
Are they brackish water?
I think they are. Well, they must be because they live in salt. They're in salt water.
Yeah,
when you buy them from the shop.
I teach geography, you know. You on about saltwater rivers? Those famous saltwater rivers? Is that what you're talking about?
Oh God! Come on!
What's going on here?
I can't go. Those shrimps. Have you never had those shrimps? Those finger shrimps that you feed your fish. Have you never had them?
He's got a red shrimp.
Can I point out the fact that how upset Jay was when he lost his shrimp the last time? Can you imagine him actually feeding shrimp to a tank?
Oh my
God!
That'd be terrible.
I'd be upset with that.
That would
mate.
That's carnage.
No. You actually buy them, Jay, for like, you know, the big tangs and stuff like that, and they just demolish them. You know, the bigger ones. That's what they're for. But and I put 3 of them in there, and they're still alive. So that's a good thing. Good. You know, feed the. As long as they're alive, that means the water's okay. So I'm not going to test my tank.
It definitely is the canary, isn't it?
I know.
The water's okay, they're alive.
If they all float to the top or something like that, or they're all on the floor, then
time for water change. Time for water change. They're floating.
It's a responsible reefing channel. Don't just chuck things in, see if it lives.
Haley had a good point there, saying stick a bag of pods in it, Steve.
Yeah. You know what? Good call, actually. Yeah, I might do that. Yeah, because they just live in the sand and on the rock, don't they? So yeah, you know what? I might go up to see Galgo anyway. Is that the is that thingy in the
did he say Kraken at 10 o'clock? I think he said, didn't he?
Yeah, so I might call up. Just got to do a few things in the morning, so I'll just see if I can make it just in time.
You'd be as well going to get some at Kraken, because there's got to be something that you'll win or get lucky with, or something. You know, it'll start raining cash for this guy or something. There'll be something there that'll happen. Here we go.
Can I ask what's happening next week then? Where are we next week? Have we got anything happening?
We're on your channel next week, are we not, Jay?
No, we're not. No.
Yeah.
No, we're not.
I thought you agreed.
I think Jay should host next week.
Where's the poll?
No, I'm not doing it. I said that's the one I'm absent for anyway. I'm not here next week.
Yeah. Well, I start my job tomorrow. It's not tomorrow. Sorry, Sunday. So I'll get the work thing, but it'll be on my show next week. So fingers crossed. I'm not working. If there's any change, then obviously I'll let you know. But I should be off Friday.
Yeah.
Congratulations as well.
Cheers, Bob. Cheers, mate.
All the best. Good. So we're over on yours, Max.
Yeah.
Nice. Anything happening, or is it just us four again? Unfortunately.
I don't know. You know what? We can. Unfortunately.
Am I joking? No, last time you gave your mugs away, didn't you?
No,
done more than that.
I gave the light away. It was the light.
Oh yeah, that was.
It's like a WhatsApp chap, isn't it? He's got no idea what's gone on in the last half hour or anything like that.
The mugs.
Where's the mugs? Where's the mugs?
Doesn't know what's going on.
The mugs were before that, I think, weren't they?
That was last year.
Yeah, that was a while ago. Yeah,
although I do love how Jay just volunteers everybody else to give stuff away. That's a good one.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
what we're giving away next week, lads?
I care about the viewers. You see,
what are we giving away, Muggsy? What are you doing?
You know what? We have got a giveaway.
So it's like that you just said you got loads of.
Yeah. We have got a giveaway, so we'll. I don't know. Maybe we could do a giveaway next week, or I don't know whether to leave it for next time. Or to one of you guys. What do you reckon? I'm not sure. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. We'll post it on Instagram, and you'll be able to see anyway, guys. So check the Instagrams, and the picture will be there for sure. So whatever we do, it was something good. Yeah, give Jay's tank away or something.
There you go.
There you go. That's what you win.
That's what you get.
Hopefully, you got an shaped letterbox.
What are you going to do with that
bookend?
What am I going to do with it? I don't really know, to be fair.
It's a bookend.
Yeah.
Ideas?
Yeah, it's a book.
I don't know.
Bookend, Jay.
Yes. Yeah, put some books on it.
Put some books on it. I think you're confusing me. You read a lot.
Most times when you see them, they're usually surrounded by a tin of baked beans or soup.
Well, that's it.
Yeah.
I don't know. No plans for that, but I'll build the other one this weekend. So hopefully next weekend on your Steve, I'll unveil it.
Unveiling.
Well, fingers crossed, Jay.
I've got another tip for you when you come to build it, mate. So you can use the 2 tins of beans like we done in my video previously. But what I've also figured out, I don't think I've got any at hand, the aquaprint magnetic frag racks. So you can use a tin of beans on one side, have the actual acrylic up against that, and then use a magnet on the other side to hold it on because it's magnetic to the tin of beans.
Oh, yeah.
So I tried that there when I built that last one, and I had the tin on one side and used a magnet from the aquaprint magnetic frag racks that I've got. Tried one of them on it, and it worked really well, actually. It helped. But you can use any magnet, but that was the kind of strong magnet I had. So
good idea.
That's something you can try if you don't, because sometimes the 2 tins can get in the way in the bottom. So when you're trying to get the very bottom bit, tins in the way. So you can try that, mate, and see. It might work.
Yeah. That's a good tip. Another good tip.
Mm.
Well, look, you're full of tips tonight. Money saving tips from Aldi.
Money saving.
I'm not in it. I'm using magnets to.
I know.
To build your picos.
To build your pico.
What more could you want on a Friday night?
I know.
Exactly.
I'm fully satisfied.
Good. Glad you are.
I'm glad I could satisfy you, Jay.
Oh dear.
Well, there's Mother Reef stuck again.
Julie's let us know.
My God, time has flown. That 2 hours is gone.
That's gone quick.
Quick one tonight.
Yeah,
thank you very much.
Thanks for tonight, Ross. I appreciate that. Really good. Thank you.
Yeah, it's good.
Thank you, you guys, and thank you everybody in the chat. That was quite a good one tonight. I think we hit 90 people in the chat at one point, so thank you very much to everybody that was
fantastic.
Really do appreciate that. It was good. So thank you guys for joining in as well. And next week we're on Moggs' channel, aren't we?
We are.
Yeah. We'll figure something out, and should be good.
Yeah, we'll sort it out. We'll get the poster up this week so you can see that. And hopefully everybody has a good weekend. Yeah,
have a good weekend, guys.
Thanks all. Thanks for watching.
Have a good one. Thanks for joining.
Cheers.
Cheers, guys. See you.